There was a door in my childhood home that nobody was allowed to open. Not because it was locked, not because there was anything valuable behind it, but because something behind that door could hear you. And one night, it learned my name. When I was 12, my mother took a job in a small town 3 hours from where we lived. We moved into an old house at the edge of town. It was bigger than anything we had ever owned. It had 3 bedrooms, a long hallway, and a basement that smelled like wet wood. The first thing I noticed was the white door at the end of the hallway. The door had no handle on the outside. I asked my mother why. She told me it was just an old storage room. Then she said something that I still remember. "Don't open that door after dark." I laughed. She didn't. That night, I heard footsteps in the hallway. Slow footsteps, one step at a time. They stopped outside my bedroom. I waited for the door to open. It didn't. Then I heard 3 soft knocks. My mother's voice whispered from the other side, "Are you awake?" I was about to answer when I heard my mother call from downstairs, "Are you awake?" I froze. The voice outside my bedroom whispered again, "Don't tell her I'm here." I didn't sleep for the rest of the night. The next morning, I told my mother what happened. She stared at me for a few seconds. Then she asked exactly what the voice had said. When I repeated it, she looked toward the hallway. She didn't say anything. I asked if someone had been in the house. She shook her head. Then she told me something strange. The previous owners had a daughter. She was about my age. One night, the girl disappeared. Her parents searched the entire house. The police searched too. They never found her. My mother said the girl had been obsessed with the white door. She claimed she could hear someone talking behind it. Her parents thought she was imagining things. Until the night she vanished. I asked my mother what was behind the door. She said nobody knew. The door had been locked for years, and the key was missing. That afternoon, I went downstairs. I wasn't planning to open the door. I just wanted to see it. The basement was colder than the rest of the house. At the bottom of the stairs, I found the white door. There was something scratched into the paint. A single sentence, "If she knocks, don't answer." I touched the words. Then I heard a knock from the other side. 3 times. I ran upstairs. That evening, I didn't tell my mother. I was afraid she'd make us leave. Around midnight, I woke up again. This time, I heard someone walking downstairs. The steps were slow. Then came 3 knocks. Not from my bedroom, from the basement door. I heard my mother get out of bed. She walked down the stairs. I followed quietly. She stood at the basement entrance, staring into the darkness. Then she whispered, "She's awake." I asked, "Who's awake?" My mother turned around. Her face was completely pale. She grabbed my arm and pulled me upstairs. We locked the bedroom door. I asked her what she meant. She told me she had heard the same voice when she was a child. Her parents had once rented this same house. She had been 11. The girl who disappeared had spoken to her through the white door. My mother said the girl had begged her to open it, but she never did. I asked why she hadn't told me. She said because she thought the house was finally quiet. Then we heard the knocking again. 3 knocks. This time, from inside our bedroom wall. My mother covered her ears. I could hear breathing behind the wallpaper. Slow, wet, close. Then a child's voice whispered, "Tell her I'm still here." My mother started crying. She told me not to look at the wall. Of course, I looked. There was a small handprint appearing beneath the wallpaper. Then another, then another. They moved slowly toward the bedroom door. My mother grabbed me and ran. We left the house that night. We stayed at a motel until morning. My mother refused to go back inside. She called the landlord and told him we were leaving. He didn't argue. Instead, he asked one question. "Did she knock?" My mother said yes. There was silence on the phone. Then the landlord whispered, "Then you shouldn't have stayed until morning." We never returned for our things. A week later, my mother received a box from the landlord. Inside were some clothes, my school books, and an old photograph. The photograph showed the house. In the upstairs window stood a little girl. I recognized her immediately. She was the girl who had disappeared. On the back of the photograph was a date. It was 26 years earlier. Underneath the date, someone had written, "She only appears to people who hear her." I thought that was the end of it. It wasn't. Years passed. I grew up. I moved to another city. My mother refused to talk about the house. I eventually stopped thinking about it. Until I was 24. One night, someone knocked on my apartment door 3 times. I looked through the peephole. Nobody was there. Then I heard a child's voice. "Are you awake?" I stepped away from the door. My phone suddenly rang. The caller ID showed my mother's name. I answered. There was only static. Then my mother's voice whispered, "Don't open the door." I said, "Mom." The line went dead. I called her back. She answered immediately. I asked if she had just called me. She said no. Then she asked me why I sounded scared. I told her about the knocking. She went silent. After a few seconds, she said, "Listen to me carefully. Whatever you do, don't let her know where you live." I asked how she could possibly know where I lived. My mother didn't answer. Instead, I heard her breathing. Then she whispered, "She found me too." The call ended. I drove to my mother's house the next morning. She was sitting in the kitchen with an old box in front of her. Inside was the photograph. The same photograph from the old house. But now something had changed. The girl was no longer standing in the upstairs window. She was standing in the hallway, closer to the camera. My mother looked at me. She gets closer every time someone hears her. I asked what would happen if she reached the camera. My mother shook her head. We never found out. That night, I stayed at her house. At 2:13 a.m., we heard 3 knocks. My mother looked at me. I looked toward the hallway. There was no door there, only a dark wall. Then another knock came. From behind it, my mother whispered, "Don't answer." A child's voice came through the wall. "Please." Then I'm cold. Then way. My mother began to cry. I asked her why the girl wanted us. She finally told me the truth. The girl had never disappeared. She had been trapped behind the wall, and the voice wasn't hers. Something else had learned to sound like her. My mother said the girl had warned her when they were children. She told her, "If you ever hear me knocking, don't let me out." I stared at my mother. "Then what is knocking?" She looked at the wall. "I don't know." The knocking stopped. For a few seconds, the house was completely silent. Then my phone received a message. It was from an unknown number. There was no text, only a photograph. I opened it. It was a picture of my mother's house, taken from outside. In the upstairs window, I could see myself, standing beside my mother, but I was looking at the photograph on my phone. I wasn't near the window. My mother saw the picture. She immediately dropped the phone. Then we heard footsteps upstairs. Slow, 1 step at a time. They stopped outside the room. 3 knocks. My mother whispered, "Don't look." I looked anyway. The hallway was empty, but at the end of it stood the white door. The door from the old house. I knew it was impossible. We were hundreds of miles away. Yet there it was. White paint, no handle, and something scratching from the other side. Then a voice whispered, "Are you awake?" My mother grabbed my hand. We ran outside. We never went back. My mother sold the house a month later. She moved somewhere far away. I changed my phone number. I changed my name on social media. I thought distance would be enough. It wasn't. 3 years later, received another photograph. This time, it showed my apartment. The picture had been taken from the hallway outside my door, and standing beside the door was a little girl. Her face was hidden by her hair. On the back of the photograph was a message. "I found you." That was 5 years ago. I still live in the same city. I still don't know what happened to the girl. Sometimes I think she was never real. I froze in my bed. The voice came from inside the wall. It sounded exactly like the little girl, but this time, she wasn't whispering. She was laughing, quietly, almost like she was standing right beside me. Then she said, "You finally heard me." I turned on the light. There was nothing in the room. I checked the hallway. Nothing. Then I noticed something on my bedroom wall. A small scratch. Then another. And another. They formed 3 words. Let me out. I backed away. My phone started ringing. Unknown number. I didn't answer. It stopped. Then another call came. Unknown number. I still didn't answer. Then I heard knocking from inside the wall again. 3 times. But this time, something knocked back from the other side of my bedroom door. 3 times. I was trapped between them, the wall, and the door. Then the voice whispered, "Choose." I didn't move. The knocking from the wall stopped. The knocking at the door stopped too. For several seconds, everything was silent. Then someone whispered from behind my bedroom door. It was my mother's voice. "Open the door." I almost did. Then my phone rang again. I looked at the screen. It was my mother. I answered. She sounded terrified. "Whatever you hear," she said, "do not open your bedroom door." I looked at the door. The voice outside whispered again, "Open it." I asked my mother what was happening. She started crying. Then she said something I will never forget. The girl never wanted to get out. I felt my blood turn cold. My mother continued. She was warning us. Something was trapped with her, and every time someone opened the door, there was a long silence. Then she whispered, "It followed them home." The voice outside my bedroom laughed. Then the doorknob slowly began to turn, and from inside the wall, I heard the little girl scream, "Don't let it in." The doorknob stopped. I didn't breathe. Then I heard footsteps moving away from my door, slowly, 1 step at a time. They disappeared down the hallway. I stayed in my room until sunrise. When I finally opened the door, there was nothing outside, except for an old photograph lying on the floor. I picked it up. It showed the white door, the same door from the house where I lived as a child. But there was something written across the photograph, a message I had never seen before. "You were never the one she was calling." I stared at those words for a long time. Then I turned the photograph over. On the back was a date, yesterday, and beneath it was another sentence. "She's waiting behind your door." I looked up. My bedroom door was still open, but at the end of the hallway stood a little girl. She was looking at me. Her face was pale. She raised 1 finger to her lips. Then she whispered, "Don't let it know you can see me." I couldn't move. Behind her, the hallway lights began turning off, 1 by 1. The darkness moved closer. The girl started walking toward me. She stopped a few feet away. Then she pointed behind me. I slowly turned around. There was nothing there. When I looked back, the girl was gone. But I could hear her voice. Not from the hallway, not from the wall, from directly behind my ear. And she whispered, "Now it knows." Since then I never sleep with my back to the wall, because sometimes, at exactly 2:13 am, I hear 3 knocks, and something on the other side whispers my name.